Well, it's not my goal to get into a episode by episode review of The Last of Us, but I did give it a fairly positive review for the first two episodes. But I did give some warning about the possibilities that it could be heading in a bad direction. If you guys are familiar with the games, the first game was very well received. The second game was divisive, to say the least. So, um, in terms of the third episode, and if you're watching this, you probably have been seeing some of the internet chatter that's broken up over this one. This particular episode seems to have broken right down the center in terms of divisiveness. Um, all in all, I mean, if you just looked at it purely as an episode, like if it was a single, let's say this was like an anthology show, and you were just seeing a particular vignette, uh, it would be an okay episode. Really well acted. Interesting themes they threw in there. Um, very, very much a relationship between two gay men. They linger on it a little bit longer than my comfort level, but that's really not a big deal. That's not going to cause me to run out of the room screaming. So, interestingly, starring Nick Offerman, aka Ron Swanson, does a fantastic job in the role. Uh, Actually harkens back a little bit to his roots as Ron Swanson. Uh, but in general, as the problems within just looking at the vignette, the little sub story there, it essentially dominates the majority of the episode. And during that period, essentially, we don't have the main characters in play. It's their story. And they don't do much in the way. Zombies are pretty sparse in this. You get a little bit of look see at some past things that have gone on, a little bit of the whole thug government that's sprung up in the aftermath of this disaster. So, I mean, in terms of a vignette in a zombie series, it's got some weaknesses. But the big problem, in my opinion, comes down to is when you plug it into the series, it doesn't work really well because it doesn't actually advance the plot. Uh, and now I'm going to spoil a little bit. So if you're planning on watching it, I'd say go ahead and watch it. It's not horrible. It's kind of a it's just kind of the kind of thing we get used to nowadays, where it's like, oh, and you go, okay, this is what they're doing. So getting into the spoiling part, essentially what it is uh, our main characters are moving along, and he's looking for essentially supplies and potentially a vehicle, etc., etc. And ultimately, he plans on getting it from these two men that have created a little compound in some small city, presumably in western Massachusetts. And even if there were a normal storyline, essentially you'd have the main characters approach the compound, deal with all the problems of trying to get past all the booby traps and everything else like that, walk in, discover, oh, all the people I'm looking for here aren't here anymore, so get our stuff and go. Well, what they did for this episode was they essentially gave you they spent the whole episode giving you these guys backstory, their relationship, how they met, and how they uh, grew to love each other, and how their relationship blossomed, and how like how they improved each other, and all this other stuff. And yeah, it was really well written, all that stuff, and it was interesting to watch. But it literally didn't advance the storyline at all. Essentially, you chewed up an entire episode with the main characters off scene, briefly entering the scene, and then leaving. And that's the whole of the episode. Uh, so I don't think it is a series killer or anything else like that. I mean, it indicates that they're capable of good writing. They're still capable of getting good actors on there, doing good stuff. The question is how many of these detours are they going to take? And are they going to go full bore Last of Us 2 in the next season? Don't know. I'm still going to continue watching it. Like I said, it was like a great vignette, a poor episode for a zombie series, a bad episode for the series itself because it's not advancing the plot. So that's all I got. Hopefully short and sweet for today. Uh, if you watch this episode, please consider commenting below. Tell me what you think. Is it a series killer? Is it not? And by the way, based on a couple things I was listening to other people, this is valid source material that did occur in the game. Probably not at this level of detail. Probably. Yep, smash the like button. If you came upon this video and you're not normally watching my stuff, please consider subscribing to my channel. I do a very wide variety of stuff, everything from cultural stuff, current media, news, all that kind of stuff, history, economics, a little bit of everything. And of course, if you think someone might find this interesting, please consider sharing it with them. Thank you very much for spending time with me this evening. Hope to see you again in a future video.